You are the family whistleblower. When there's anger in the room, you express the anger. When someone's lying, you call them out on the lie. Sometimes you just stay quiet in the background, and whatever is happening, it's always your fault. You're the one that everybody blames. If something went wrong, maybe you're in a different country, in a different part of the world, in a different space completely, but something goes wrong in the family, somehow it's put on you. It's all because of you. So it could be that you find that you are in this archetype of being the scapegoat. And the good news is that when you're a scapegoat, you are full of all the treasures of true nature, treasures which are unfolding in real time in a process from being scapegoat to being healer, to being redeemed, to being enlightened, an enlightened part of the deeper belonging, which is the essence of our purpose in being here. So let's look at what a scapegoat is. So the Jewish sage, the Baal Shem Tov, told a story about how on the holy day, Yom Kippur, everyone was going to the synagogue. Everybody was very deep in prayer, deep in this whole theme of redemption. To be redeemed, to be forgiven, to be redeemed, to be forgiven, which comes with Yom Kippur, which is the day of redemption. And then out in the distance, by the river, there is the boy who is known as the village idiot. And this boy takes the flute and he blows it with a shrill sound, which is puncturing the silence, waking everybody up. And the rabbis and the community come running and say, stop that, what are you doing, you idiot? It's the holy day. And the Baal Shem Tov, who's himself a bit of a scapegoat, comes and says, stop it, stop it. The blowing of this whistle, the expression of this child is worth all of your prayers and so much more, because with the expression of this child, the gates of heaven opened. So in this story, we hear a story of redemption. And the story of redemption is all about the scapegoat, the sacrificial lamb, the one that is given as a substitute for our sins and butchered on the altar as an offering to try and get a little bit back of that sense of light, that sense of goodness, that sense of innocence, that sense of belonging to a higher and deeper dimension of experience, to open up a pathway of return to who and what and where we truly are. So being a scapegoat is not just saying, okay, I'm a scapegoat, poor me, I'm a victim, I'm always in trouble, I'm the black sheep, nobody loves me, I'm getting caught in that rut. That's where we have the suffering of the scapegoat. But when we can change our attitude towards this role, which through nobody's intention we were born into, that evolved around our being here, first of all in our family structure, when we can change our attitude towards it, we can find skillful means to navigate a process of transformation, transmutation in the heart, and transcendence. So let's look at some of the well-known scapegoats of our time. Martin Luther King changed the world. Jesus Christ changed the world. If anyone suffered rejection, these two men are that. Joan of Arc changed the world. My goodness, if there wasn't Joan of Arc, where would we females turn to? As some example that we count that we have souls. Gandhi changed the world. Now, don't begin to get frightened, because not everybody has to get shot to prove themselves as a scapegoat. But actually, when this process of transformation has happened from scapegoat to healer, from scapegoat to self-realized one, the issue of getting shot or not getting shot is not the major thing, because there is a place of such surrender to what's really needed from the core of the soul, that getting shot, not getting shot, personal survival, we're not really living in that dimension anymore. So what does it look like energetically? So here is the child. She's at home and she's sitting there doing her thing, maybe playing, and inside the house there is a tension. There's a horrible tension building up. And at a certain moment, her mother notices that she's got a stain on her clothes, and she points it out, and everybody looks at her. And the reign of the whole family's scorn and the whole family shame and the whole family guilt looks at her. Agatha, you dirtied your brand new white shirt. What are we going to do now? We have no money. It's all her fault, the financial situation. We have no ability, no time. It's all her fault. We have no time. It's all her fault. There's no time. We have no energy left to clean this again. It's all her fault that they don't have energy left to clean it again. We're going to be so ashamed when we take you out to the school fair. It's all her fault that they feel shame, social shame. So partly what's happening in such a structure where the crimes of the parents are dumped on the child, or the crimes of society are dumped on a family, which then dumps it on one particular child inside the family, is that there is a tremendous suffering building up in the field of togetherness, the suffering of social anxiety, the feeling of rejection and the fear of rejection. Rejection must never happen. A deep rage at that which wants to show up, which can never show up because of this rejection, which must never happen. And on and on and on. And we're not going into the sexual fields, but also here, there is this scapegoating dynamic. Name a quality, it's showing up. So there is this stress, this anxiety in the whole field. Let's say it's the family field. So what do we do with this pain of rejection, for example? What do we do with the shame? What do we do with this horrible, heavy sense of guilt, which means we can hardly breathe? That's easy. We take the child, or the one in the family which has the most light, the most space, the least reactivity, the most absorptive power, and we dump that badness on them. J'accuse. The badness in me now belongs to you, and I can breathe. We dump the anger on them. Because of you, we are all angry. So now because of them, we all have a right to be angry. Because of you, we are all stressed. Now we all have a right to be stressed. Because of you, we feel ashamed. Now we have a right to feel ashamed, but it's not because of us. We're perfect, we're pure, we're holy. It's because of this child. And the child is sitting there, absorbing this offloading of suffering energies, absorbing into her, and resting, perhaps resourcing in a place of light or containment, or a place outside of giving a shit, where this is containable. And as she stays and doesn't react, allowing these energies to move through her, what flows back by itself is a stream of light, a stream of quality, a stream of mercy, a stream of relief. Now, this is a little bit codependent, because when we get relief by hitting a certain child, we might do it again and again. And this is where things develop to a point where it will reach a scapegoat crisis. A scapegoat crisis where, despite the best intention in the world on behalf of the child, her spirit, her body will move to a place where she can be free in her quality, in freedom, outside of this pattern. Why will it all move? Because she was never caught in the pattern in the first place. She wasn't reacting and reacting. It's not that when they dumped the rage onto her, she went and tortured the dog. So she's got this space of freedom, and this very space of freedom will move her to a place where she's able to begin to follow this movement of absorbing suffering and allowing light to flow back in a way which is empowered, centered, honored, respected. So when we work as a healer, or as a therapist, or anywhere in service to others, partly what's happening is we open up and we allow people to come in. And we allow people to come in as they are. And they come because they are suffering. And we allow this suffering to come in, becoming empty in a way, allowing it to be alive inside of us. We open ourselves up to the other. And by itself, the qualities of true nature come back like healing balms, perfectly attuned to what's needed. And the first quality to come back is this purity, this unconditional aspect, which allows the suffering to be precisely as it is. And when the suffering is allowed to be, it's allowed to take form in the heart, then there is the permission for it to transform. Transformation begins to happen, and all that is there is a resting in an alignment with another dimension of being, in which it's possible to open up, because why not? There's not really any consequences. It's a delight to move with compassion, to relieve suffering. Even compassion towards the places inside themselves which feel abused, or the field of abuse which is in the world. Allowing it to be felt, to transition, to transform, to transmute, to allow the liberation, the transcendence behind, above, or around the suffering vibrations which are here. It's the essence of healing. So one of the gifts of being a scapegoat, one reason we should feel grateful if we were born into this family role, is that from the beginning, we never forgot our true nature. It's always been our sanctuary. It's always been a resource. We've always lived in multiple dimensions. We were never caught inside the rejection spiral, the kill or be killed mechanics. We were never damned within the blame game. We were never lost inside the wilderness of mental manipulations. There was always this place to resource. So from the outset, we were being trained and groomed in multidimensional living, which is what some people take lifetimes to come to. And the structure of our karma is such that we cannot forget our true nature. This true nature by itself gives all of the qualities and the overview and the ability to contain. And among the qualities it gives is this quality of freedom, this quality of being free to be of service to the greater whole, meaning where the greater whole may be condensed into a certain society, which contracted into a certain family. The family itself is a scapegoat family, which condensed furthermore onto a certain child. Now there is this possibility of an inversion, where the heart opens up when the child is free and empowered, and the flow of quality becomes the dominant factor, not the reactive factor. And the flow of quality is now reverberating from the child to the family, the scapegoat family, to the scapegoat society, and to the scapegoat whole, meaning something is beginning to move in the attitude towards suffering, and something is beginning to shift out of this disempowered victim collective, it's because horror that we are in as humanity, into a place of the depth of the responsibility for what we are. Creatures of love, creatures of peace, creatures of belonging, creatures of well-being. So, yay, scapegoat. The scapegoat in me greets the scapegoat in you.